Today is the third lecture on this topic of Riemann integration. Today, we will try to formulate our efforts mathematically. We will follow the same way as Riemann did. Now, we must remember that the popular belief in this regard before this formulation is that for any function, any subdivision of the domain and erecting successively slimmer rectangles will actually lead to the actual area under the curve. We must also accommodate these liberties into our formulation and verify them. Okay. So mathematical formulation. Now allowed perturbations. What do I mean by perturbation? Now we have allowed one liberty in this process so far, that is choosing the height of the basic rectangles. Now we have chosen the height of basic rectangles in two ways. Here I have chosen the height of the rectangle as the functional value at left extremity at every point of subdivision, right? For the Brown case, so for this Brown case, we have seen that this is the functional value at left extremity over here. And in the green cases, we have chosen the functional value, the height of the rectangles as the functional value at the points of right extremity. Okay, remember? And we have seen in both cases, we have found the same answer, right? This is 7 by 3 we got in this way, and here 7 by 3 we got in this way. Remember, as Riemann is trying to do, he is trying to mathematicize the whatever people have been doing so far. So the people, they did not have any restriction on which point should be chosen in the subinterval to be considered as the height of the rectangle. Okay, so that liberty we must allow in our formulation. The second one is we should allow is to choose the intermediate points arbitrarily. Suppose I have a function like this. I have to measure the area of this part, this graph. Now this one, you see the first this much part is almost fine. This can be approximated by this rectangle very easily. You do not have to make very slim rectangles for this much area. But for this area, there are too much of heights and lows. So here we should be subdividing the rest of the interval in very narrow rectangles. I could not make the curve even flatter in this region. I wanted to, but I could not. There should be this liberty should also be present in the formulation, that there should not be any hard and fast rule that you need to equally subdivide the entire domain. No, you can choose the points of subdivision arbitrarily according to your convenience. Of course, now you understand this thing, that what is the big deal of if we also subdivide this part into smaller things? The big deal is that will not be economical. Of course, more points we introduce, more calculations we need to perform. So that needs resource. To perform more calculation needs more resource. So that will not be economical. If we can see that something is more or less a rectangle, then we can actually approximate that with one rectangle only. So we are fine with that. Then for the rest of the part where we have to be very precise, otherwise there is a too much chance of error. You understand? There is too much chance of error. There is a so steep height, over here and there. Cannot possibly make with a wider rectangle. You need to go for slimmer rectangle, as slim as possible. So that is why there should not be any restriction on where to choose the points of subdivision. So what are the allowed perturbations in the mathematical formulation? Perturbation, why am I using the word perturbation? Because of the examples what we have seen so far. In the example of the circle over here, we have chosen everything very symmetrically. Okay, everything was divided in an equal way. This angle was divided into n equal way. This was a regular polygon. So this is one example, and the other example was this one. Here everything was very much symmetrical and formulated. Here, but actually people do not want that that restriction to be present in the mathematical formulation. So that is why this perturbation means a variation from the ideal state. That is what perturbation is, variation from an ideal state. Okay, so perturbation, so if these served as my ideal examples, maybe in your school, okay, you probably have seen these examples in your school. I have just recapitulated them over here. Okay, I have not given anything extra there. So these are sort of ideal examples you have seen in your schools. So from there, what we are allowing some perturbations to actually come up with the entire theory. So here, what we are doing here, we are just following the path of Riemann in the mathematical formulation of this technique. He wants to investigate whether this traditional technique of finding area by approximation with known areas actually works in general or not. Okay, so we start the mathematical formulation by introducing partition of an interval. If be a function over a closed and bounded interval AB, of course a real valued function. We start by introducing the points of subdivision on AB, right? In other words, we introduce partition of an interval. What is a partition? Let AB be a closed and bounded interval. A partition P of AB is a collection of points x0, x1, x2 up to xn from AB such that the first point x0 is your left extremity of the interval, the last point is your right extremity of the interval, and the other points are chosen in their natural order. Okay, like this. So suppose this is your A, this point is your left extremity, this point is your right extremity. This is your one point of subdivision, this is a second point of subdivision, this is third point of subdivision, this is n minus 1th point of subdivision, this is nth point of subdivision, and that is your right extremity. So this is called a partition. Collection of points x0, x1 up to xn, where the first one x0 is the left extremity, the last one is the right extremity, and the rest of the points are within are in the natural order, arranged in the natural order within x0 and xn. There is now you see, observe that there is no hard and fast rule that they must be equally evenly spaced or anything. You can see that none of them are evenly spaced. Okay, x0 and the distance between x0 and x1 is something different from the distance between x1 and x2. Both of them are different from the distance between x2 and x3, and so on. Now, example. So this one is an example. 0. Both are examples of partition of 0, 1. By introducing partition in this way, what we did, we accommodated our second thing. Second thing was this one, that we should allow arbitrary subdivision of the domain. That was our second criteria, that we should allow arbitrary subdivision of the domain. So by introducing partition, we have taken care of that. Okay, notation, this script P AB will denote the collection of all partitions of AB. Next, what is called the tagged partition. Now we are up to the first perturbation. What are tagged partition? Tagged partition is, so let P be a partition of AB. Okay, P is P endowed with an arbitrary choice of tags xi r in the Rh subinterval is called a tagged partition of AB. What is that? From each subinterval, we choose a point where we will be erecting our rectangle, where we will be finding the functional value and choosing that as a height of the rectangle. Okay, so that is what it means. So while explaining this one, we say that here we have chosen the brown one, we have chosen over here we have chosen the functional value at left extremity, and here we have chosen the functional value at right extremity of every subinterval. Now this did not have to be either of left extremity or the right extremity, but it can be any point in the middle. That is what popular belief is. Okay, so Riemann is trying to accommodate that popular belief. So that is what he is doing by introducing tagged partitions, tags in the middle. So in the first one, x0 to x1, we have a point xi1 taken, arbitrarily chosen, completely arbitrarily. Xi1 can be any point from x0 to x1. It is like x-axis or y-axis. You can choose anything, but once you choose, that is fixed. Okay, so that is the thing. So xi1 is a point in the first subinterval x0 to x1. Xi2 is a point in the second subinterval x1 to x2. Now here I have chosen, you see, xi-r is in the closed and bounded interval xr minus 1 to xr. So that means here xi2 is equal to x2. Okay, I have chosen xi2 is equal to x2 over here. It can be, no problem. In the next interval x2 to x3, I have chosen xi3 to be x2. Also possible. No problem. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule that they cannot be the extremity, or two tags cannot be equal. Nothing is there. So choose, you have xr minus 1 to xr, and you choose a point, a tag from that subinterval. The partition with the choice of tags in each of the subintervals is called a tagged partition. Subscript of xi matches with the subscript of the right extremity of the interval. Therefore, in this setup, for a chosen tagged partition P bar, let me write P bar for a tagged partition and without the bar for a non-tagged partition. Therefore, in this setup, for a chosen tagged partition P bar of AB, we are interested in the approximated area given by this one. What is this? So understand this one carefully. What is the thing we are actually behind? So this is my curve. This is from x0. This is my primary domain A to B. I have introduced this one. I have subdivided this thing into 4 subintervals. So I have introduced a partition there. So x0 is A, fine. This is my x1. This is my x2. This is my x3. This is my x4. See, I have not chosen the points equidistantly. No. x0 to x1, this distance is not same as the distance between x1 to x2. x2 to x3, this distance is not same as any of the earlier ones. x3 to x4 is not same as any of the earlier ones as well. So non-uniformly spaced points I have chosen. To illustrate that we do not need to choose the uniformly spaced subintervals. Fine. Now, in the first subinterval x0 to x1, we have chosen the tag at this point, xi1. So this is my point, this is my tag, and I have erected the rectangle with this height. I have erected the rectangle on the first subinterval x0 to x1 with the height f at xi1. In the second subinterval x1 to x2, I have chosen the tag at this point xi2. I have erected the triangle on x1 to x2, this subinterval, with the height f at xi2. In the subinterval x2 to x3, this is my tag xi3. This is my tag xi3. I have chosen the height as height of the rectangle as the functional value at xi3 and got this as my rectangle. The last one, I have chosen xi4 to be the tag xi4 to be same as B. So I have chosen this as my rectangle, the functional value at B as the height of my rectangle. So what we are up to, what is the area of this rectangle? Okay, the height is f at xi1, and what is the width? Width must be the length of this subinterval x1 minus x0. So the area of this rectangle is x1 minus x0 times f at xi1 plus Next one is the width of the rectangle is x2 minus x1 and times the height is f at xi2. The next one is x3 minus x2 times the height as f at xi3. The next one is x4 minus x3 times the height f at xi4. This f at xi4 is my height of the rectangle. So the width into height gives you the area of the rectangle. So my total approximated area is R is running from 1 to n. There are n many subintervals. So in this first subinterval, second subinterval, third subinterval, fourth subinterval. So this is my, in this case, n equal to 4. Let us match this expression with this example. So n equal to 4 here. So R runs from 1 to 4. This is my first subinterval, second, third, fourth. Fine. In the first subinterval, we have x. The area of the rectangle is x1 minus x0 times f at xi1. So if r equal to 1, it is x1 minus x0 into f at xi1. So for r equal to 1, this gives me the first area of the first rectangle. For r equal to 2, this is x2 minus x1 times f at xi2. That gives me the area of the second rectangle. The next one, r equal to 3, gives me x3 minus x2 times f at xi3. So x3 minus x2 times f at xi3. This is the area of the third rectangle. And lastly, for n equal to 4, r equal to 4, r4 minus x3 times f at xi3. This is the quantity we are targeting to handle in this formulation. Now, can you tell me what next? We are chasing this quantity. How we are chasing this quantity? By making this rectangle slimmer and slimmer, by introducing more points in the partition, by making these things slimmer and slimmer. So we need to apply a limit on this one. What should be that limit be applied on? What is your idea? Distance should tend to 0. Which distance? Now the problem is distances are different. Which distance shall we be talking about? A limit on n many variables. If you want to write xr minus 1 tend to 0, and that should be for every r, right? Do you want to make it that complicated? Okay, keep this as your homework.